The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints with a Z.com. I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
We are back with the newest episode of the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
This is where we get together. We talk about what's going on out here in this life, out here in the world, out here in these streets.
In these cold streets.
They're cold even in the summertime.
Yeah.
Coming at you with episode number 82.
We 82 season.
We 82 season 5.
82. Well, 82. Here we are.
Yep, a lot going on out here. As we do around here, we like to highlight people that we need to shed a little light on that may not get the accolades or the recognition.
A moment of black excellence with Jermaine Morris.
Yeah, some folks out here that we think are news and noteworthy that we may or may not be aware of. That it's, we need to tell our own stories and create our own narrative of what it is we do out here in this life. And this is to a brother. He's still here. He's still with us.
You finally picked a brother or sister that's alive. Thank you. Yes.
You got to give props to the ancestors as well as the contemporaries. This brother was born in New York in 1958. So he's not even that old.
All right.
So he's still with us.
He old, but ain't old.
Yeah. Genius mind. He went to Harvard, the University of Texas, Austin, Columbia. He studied astrophysics, science, and communication. His mother was a gerontologist for the Department of Health. She's actually Puerto Rican, and his father is black. His father was studied sociology and was the first director of the Harlem Youth Opportunities Unlimited. So though they're big on scholars, they do still have that drive and that need to feel like they needed to give back. At the early age of 9, he became fascinated with astronomy and the stars. Like the idea of looking beyond what he could just see in front of him in his imagination when it came to what could be out there, as well as the background with scholars to kind of put in the science behind us. He went on to study at Harvard, where he majored in physics. While he was there, he did crew wrestling. He studied dance, ballet, Afro-Caribbean. Like this brother not only was deep in the books, but he was, pretty well-rounded. Like I said, he studied at Harvard, went to Texas, Austin. He started doing lecturing at the University of Maryland. Got his degree from Columbia in astrophysics. Like, this brother on his square when it comes to cracking open them books. And he spent his whole life focused on stellar evolution and just the stars and constellations and just how opening your mind further than what you can see at the end of your hand. Mm-hmm. Like the idea of when you talk about dreaming big, dreaming astronomically big.
Okay.
And so this brother, he's done books, radio, TV, multiple awards, just across the board in the area of education. And I think that these are some of the brothers that slip through the cracks when we think about the ones who are doing stuff out there. And just give him a head nod and show a little love one time to Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, yes. Tyson, brother. We're not talking Mike Tyson, fam.
Nah, but I do something that is where he did get hit in the Me Too era. He had an accusation, which then was found was dropped.
Well,
but in 2018,
not too many brothers has been able to survive the Me Too era.
Yeah, he got.
You
hit
ain't heard about a lot of brothers.
He got hit with some accusations, but nothing was substantiated. Everything was dropped. But it is, whether to bring it up,
man.
But I think that, we highlight our athletes and we highlight, our entertainers.
Yeah.
This brother's just genius mind.
That's a beautiful thing.
And I think that we need to highlight those brothers and sisters as well. The ones who's doing it deep in the books.
Yes.
I mean, degrees in physics and aeronautics.
Black excellence.
And when we speak of
what we known for, but what we don't celebrate or talk about enough.
Yeah. Because when you get to the deep levels, the real channels, we're known for these things.
Yeah,
like when you talk to when the people who know, when they talk about scholars in astrophysics, when they want to talk about people who come in and do these lectures at these major universities, it's us.
Yeah, and the thing about it, what folks got to be familiar with is we were not taken from the motherland because we were savages and we were ignorant and we were stupid and we were foolish. We were mathematicians. We were the creator. We're architects. These are the things that they utilize, right? They utilize our strength and our know-how, the execution to be able to create. Like, think about the pyramids. I mean, math came from us, right? And I think that we lose sight of that. The story has been written over and over again, and it's been written wrong. So our young people need to know, even our older folks, that when we were being taken from our homeland, and even being here, the natives of this country, America, we were creators, and the folks that were the engine, that created everything that we see. So it wasn't just on some, well, we had to tame the savages. It was nothing like that at all.
No, and that's why the language part is important. We talk about Africans in America, is that we were not slaves, that we were enslaved.
Yes.
And that slaves are a specific thing. Yes. Enslaved is teachers, yes, and philosophers, yes, and farmers and parents.
Yes. They took the best of the best, yo.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't the prisoners of the night.
The Greek get credit for being the great philosophers, but they ransacked the Alexandria library, and they sat up under African scholars, yeah, to get the game.
Wars ruled the world.
All that stuff, and so that's why it's important to highlight these people that don't necessarily get the headlines, and it's not cool in a lot of circles to talk about an astrophysicist. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and someone's like, man, I want to be an astrophysicist.
Yeah, we got to make it cool.
That's exactly the point. And so we got people who, he goes out and does lectures and speaks to these major universities all the time. And we just had a great lecture out here in SAC.
Yes. The message to the black community. Salute for us having another great Black Blueprints event, as well as collaborating with Live with Nature. The collaborative effort of our community of bringing our brother from Mississippi, David Banner, the former, what was the song?
Like a pimp.
Like a pimp. The former like a pimp.
Girls get down on the floor.
Yeah. About the good brother in, doing Black Blueprints events, folks. It's not easy. And of course, thank my brother for coming through with the camera people and doing your thing. Shouts out to BJ.
Shout out to the photo. B took that.
Yeah, BJ did his thing. And I definitely need a little snippet of that little interview if you don't mind.
We getting all that stuff together.
30-second snippet if you can.
We getting all that together.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, you did your little video thing. I was like, oh, that was dope. But anyway, so.
And that was me, by the way, too.
Yeah, really?
I did that video.
I see your little, I mean? At J.
I had to put the tag on there.
I see that. I couldn't utilize it for myself. But the message to the black community, the powerful thing about it, and the reason why we do these things, for those who's never come to a Black Blueprints event, we've been doing Black Blueprints events since 2016, since I created the Black Blueprints. But that doesn't mean I've been limited on doing events. I've been doing events since I can remember, but especially as I came into the community doing the work, really started doing more conscious vibe events in 2014, collaborating on different things with other folks, but then decided to really get into more of a deeper level. Don't like to really wait for people to kind of wake up and say, we should do this, we should do that. So we've had a plethora of people coming. David Banner was something that folks wanted to have in Sacramento. He has come into Sacramento before, but it was whack the first time. No disrespect on the people that brought him in, but it wasn't the way it was with us.
Yeah.
And it was an important message. It was a message to the black community. And that message was for us to unify. And I think the message is a similar messages that can resonate from all of us, is to unify collectively and to really help build. And the part of it was also the Black Business Sunday, where we had the vendors. And I've always been a person that wants to propel entrepreneurship, black businesses. So this was a great way for folks to not only be able to sell their product, introduce their product, and give information to folks to know that there are these different black businesses that here in Sacramento. And it was lit. It was on fire. Shouts out to Dana Maisha. Shouts out to BM. Shouts out to my daughter. Everybody. Shouts out to Mama Rose. Shouts out to the Black BSU for health professions. Miss Stocksdale and Miss Washington that really held it down. Queen Wanda, who of course again held it down for the decorations. I mean, shouts out to all the people that made it happen. Of course, Team Void, the crew. It was a beautiful day because it was a stressful time.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So the message was on point, but I will say this, that I think that we have to stop relying on celebrity to get messaging that folks have already been saying over and over and over again.
Yeah, something about that, which, two things. One, which I thought was cool, was that who was there. So I saw members represented from the Nation of Islam, those followers of Islam.
Yeah, shouts out to Les Simmons, my brother out there too.
I was going down the line. The Moorish brothers that came out. I saw the Black Christian faction was deep, as well as atheists, like people who didn't have a religious horse in the race, who still tried to come out and get the message. And so that was good to see that.
And it was on Pride Day. Yeah. So, because that was kind of splitting.
Yeah, the LBGT had their
joint
out here.
And so I'm excited that we packed the house. Like, it was over 300 people in there that packed the joint. So I was happy about that, because I've heard some folks were like, they wanted to be at both places. Some people did. That's great. I love that. But then again, some people chose to be where they wanted to be, and that's on them. But I really believe specifically we needed to get this message. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so the first part is what I appreciated was that all the different groups that were there who were just here to hear the message. Yeah. That whatever their ideology is, who they pray to, like I said, even LBGT, whomever, that just came out to get the word. The fact that there was children as well as elders, that just the community as a whole is very, I appreciated that. The only thing that the day, I guess we'll call it the day after. So the message in itself, I think was great, and how it was received. The only thing that got to me was some people's responses after. And I think that sometimes we miss messages because of something particular that we hold on to ourselves.
What responses did you hear?
Well, that's what I was. So we have, like I said, all those different groups.
No.
And so rather than take the message for face value for what it was, I just kept hearing from the different parts, the picking apart based upon their ideology. Like they all came out to hear, but then when it came to so taking a turn, if you're not religious and then you hear references to God, some people get turned off as soon as they hear God.
Yep.
If you're a Moorish brother, then you hear something you refer to as black. Yep. All of a sudden they're turned off because you refer to yourself as black. If you're, nation, like everybody's got, if you're saying, okay, with black this and this and this, but then if you got a white girl, okay, all of a sudden I'm tuning you out, whatever, like whatever particular.
It was too hard for the fucking radio.
Sometimes it was. I think sometimes we overanalyze.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the message for what it is, we have to see it through our particular lens,
yes.
And I think that's where stuff gets lost. And I think that's where sometimes we don't move because we're hung up on our particular ideology, our particular way that we see stuff, or information has to be presented in a specific way for us to do something with it.
And then I also see those same people that are offended taking pictures with David Banner. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. Well, I didn't like, well, can I get, whatever.
Yeah.
Shouts out to MJ, Black Blueprints, MJ, Miss Jackson. Shouts out for her because she was a very much an integral part on it. And again, live with nature. But you know what, man? What I've learned is that you can't please everybody. And, as long as the vendors did well, as long as the people came in to support another Black Blueprints themed event, and now we're going to be working on something else. So, come wait for that. That's going to happen. I don't think we just can please Black people enough, and I think that is the source of our trouble, because my idea is you and I don't have to get along to get along, but you and I have to find some common ground to do what we need to do to get us off the ground, and that's it. Because as much as people dislike how I move and how I operate, you could imagine how many people I dislike and how they move and how they operate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, y'all can keep throwing your darts or keep hating on what Barry does, but trust and believe for some of y'all folks, I feel the same exact way. But the difference between me is I know how to move in a room full of vultures, and I know how to build with folks that I really don't have no reason to build with, but I will find the common ground between us and figure out if there's a point that we can build and build from there.
Well, and why I think the second part sticks out for that particular thing. So it's a message to the black community, teaching the significance of
Economics,
doing for self, economics, the family structure,
education,
about moving forward.
Black love.
But when we get hung up on the minutia of what we personally believe, just on something as, and it's not to be disrespectful to the message, but as generic as message to the black community. Because that's just this is an overview of a bunch of different areas that need to be addressed.
And I did that on purpose too.
Well,
just real quick. I did that on purpose because I didn't want it to be diluted with white people coming in thinking like, oh, David Banner's here. But go ahead.
No, I get it. So when it comes to, if we start separating over the small details of our particular ideology over something that's a blanket statement, a message to the black community, when it comes to really narrowing down really tough, specific issues, if we can't get past the general stuff, just to hear the information for what it is, to move forward just in a basic direction, when it comes to fine tuning and whittling it down to a specific thing, it makes it nearly impossible. Because that was a real broad statement of what's all the things that we need to address. And here's some pinpoints. He did get specific on a few. Here's some key things to address. But we've got another
kind of went off a little bit too.
But what I say to that
to the point.
is to say to where we're at now, where there's a major story in the news about how if we're trying to get in one focus in one direction about coming together to a degree, like the right now the big reparations story. If you're going to divide and argue over something just as generic as we need to stay home. We need to protect and provide. We need to make sure we have our education. Just the basics. Yeah. And we're going to argue over language at that. When it comes to a big issue like something as specific as reparations, this going to make it next to impossible to get on the same page for how something should be broken down, how money should go, and all that. So that's why I say,
I think even in the idea of it, niggas won't even think that we deserve it.
That's what I'm saying. If we got to get past the minor stuff. Like I'm a firm believer. If we all have to get from A to B, if we have to get from, pick a map anywhere in America, if you have to get from San Francisco to Brooklyn, New York. Now there's specific freeways you can take. There's particular directions you can go. But I'd rather
take a plane.
But I'm saying if you got to drive, where you're in control of getting there, just go east. Now you want to argue with me over it's shorter to take this particular light, and if we cut through this parking lot, we got 3,000 miles east to go. I'm not going to argue over which left to make in San Francisco. Let's just start moving in the general direction, and then we can start working on some stuff there. But we got to the point to where we're still stuck in San Francisco arguing over which light to go or which one's a little bit faster, that the car never moves.
Black people are very problematic in their ideology, and that becomes the issue that I think we face more than ever. The different subcultures that we all live in, right? You have Christianity, and let's just say religion. But then in religion, you have Christianity, you have Baptist, you have Muslim, you have Jews, you have Hebrew. It's all these different things and this is more, right? Catholic, and this is all like a separate kind of.
It's a different walk
of what black people are. We're not talking about like white. We're talking about black people.
Yeah, a black Hebrew Israelite move different than a black Catholic.
In that sense, it's already confusion. But then when you go into the deeper, then you even have where black people who are suburban compared to the Negro that's hood.
The classism side.
So you now have that ideal, right? Now, even going even more deeper into lens with this new creation of black feminism that has kind of created this new identity for black women who are, and I don't want to push no buttons, but let's just go there, that kind of feel to me wanting to have the same rights as white women, where they've kind of embraced this feminine side to them, where they've kind of pushed back more of their black womanhood into more of this idea that white women have created. Then you have males dealing with the toxic masculinity piece, or the black male in a way of incarceration, the black male in the way of separating from the families, the black male in a way of trying to always figure out, well, should I be the gangster Negro? Should I be the athlete Negro? Should I be the scholastic Negro? Should I be the corporate Negro? But I have a target on my back. So you're moving in America in these different ways of being so many different people at one particular time. Then you have the other side where Negroes who do get a little bit of that privilege, do get a little bit of the prestige, the more elite Negro who now believes that, well, shoot, America's done right for me, so what do I need to ask from America? I'm trying to do more for America, and don't look at the lens of reparation. Don't look at the lens of enslavement. Really look at it on like, well, Negro, I did it. You should be able to do it as well.
Or worse off, if I start talking this mess, it may cut my water off.
That's even better.
What I did to get me here.
So you have elite. So you have.
I may lose my position. That's with y'all.
So you have the elite Negro. You have the coon Negro, because I think they're two different things, right?
Yeah. And you can be elite without being a coon.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And then as well as you have the Negro that you kind of touched on with classism. That's the athlete that also falls with the elite Negro, but kind of sometimes is a different temperament, or the entertainer. So you have all of these Negroes. And then you got the straight nigga. Then you got the straight nigga that don't
care about none of that.
Shit about nothing. You know, he want to be on the block. He want to be in the hood. And I really use that word when I need to use that word, because I don't want to use that word, and I don't want this word to have power and be effective. But when it's time to kind of give that shock value, I'm going to use it. So you have all these different brands of black people. And then let's not even move into, we're just talking about the American black.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the black that have no attachment to America, but know that we are part of their origin.
Yeah.
Whether they want to agree to disagree that we come from the same soil. We come from that same...
We fruit off the same tree.
Yeah, but they, you know, because of the language barriers and the cultural barriers, you have that fight. The reparations conversation becomes a deeper conversation than all of the tragic history of America. It actually comes down to, if America was even willing to go about saying, you're right, how do we go ahead and make this right, we would have more, I believe, from what you just said and from what we have seen of ideology and how we kind of surf from place to place, we would have a deeper fight just trying to figure out ourselves, what do we truly want.
Okay, so sticking with that, so this is the first time in a presidential candidate where they're starting to come up, where they're really actually posing the question, some of these potential candidates, about reparations. But
that's because, let's be clear, that's because the pressure and folks like myself, you, other individuals, speaking it out, it loud, clear, and really making a true argument about it. So I want to be clear. It's not because these motherfuckers just woke up one day and said it was right.
But follow with it. So this is the first time you start to really get these national conversations in regards to
conversations were happening
to reparations. And so now to where it's getting some motion and some discussion about the actual breakdown. What would that look like financially? Who's supposed to be entitled to it?
It's gonna be crazy.
You're starting to get you're starting to move in a direction. Is this the cart before the horse? Because if we start to say that you really start to get some leeway and really start moving, get some momentum about really breaking down and dissecting, doing research and trying to equate a dollar value or whatever that is that, are we backwards? Because let's just say they came up with an idea. Have we had enough conversations about ourselves to actually move forward when it pertains to reparations?
No.
What's I'm saying? So we keep pushing, we pressing candidates about, you need to put that up there. We're pressing Congress about, we need to put this on the table.
Because the wrong people are having the conversations, and the right people that are having the conversations aren't talking to Congress. Because here's the thing, when things become popular, when things become put on the telescope of whatever government or whatever official or whatever trend.
Yeah.
It usually is coming from people that have been bystanders, or like when you look at the Colin Kaepernick thing, everyone started looking at Colin Kaepernick as he was the voice and he was like the symbol of police brutality and speaking against it.
Yeah.
When it was almost he was inspired by people like myself and others who were doing the work, and it was screaming out and saying the injustices that are going on right now currently, and him then taking a deeper look and a deeper lens of like, whoa, this shit is really affecting us and me as an athlete that has a little bit of some power and a platform to say something. I have to say something. So I think that when folks are on the underground, because these conversations are not conversations that Negroes can have. Why? Because one, we once upon a time never believed that we could get a black president. So it was like conversation that Negroes would never have, because it was like, that shit's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Two, we looked at reparations, some of us truly, even though one of the House of Representatives speaker, I know you're going to get into that, made this kind of blind statement about, was it McConnell?
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. He made this blind statement that where basically reparations was when you guys got
the civil rights era, the Civil War, civil rights,
and then you got the African American Obama. You got here's Obama. That is some of the same thinking of black people, because black people really truly believe that, one, there is no way to allocate that kind of monies to us currently right now. Two, who the hell is going to be considered black? Because a lot of Negroes have been saying Native American, others, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then three, where in the hell do you believe that a Negro who's sitting down, ain't did nothing for nothing, ain't even tried, now all of a sudden is going to get a check? Negroes are going to feel some kind of way about that. So for us to say, when you're talking about having a conversation, we have not even been able to come to a place where we believe that police brutality is a reality, where we believe that focusing on local government and local laws that affect us in our little states and cities, that we should kind of contribute into making sure that we do the policy changes, or figure out a way to say, well, the education system has failed our young African American males and females, let us create our own. We have not even gotten to a point where we've decided to look at our communities, our so-called black communities, and said, let us clean this shit up by ourselves with all the rich folk that we have, with all the folks that have access, and do something different. So it's hard pressed to me to, when now this conversation is growing and growing, for folks to really have that deeper conversation with amongst ourselves, because we don't even have any idea what this looks like and how to break it down, because we have not been able to build without this discussion even being involved.
Okay, so is there even a point of moving forward? And the reason why I asked is,
of course, there's a point.
Well, the reason why I said in 1968,
hell yeah, there's a point.
Well, there's more to that.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
But I said, so in '68, when Martin Luther King, when he, and ultimately this is why most people believe he was killed, when he made the reparations move, and everybody kept saying, oh, well, there was no money for black people and this, that, and that, and at the exact same time they were giving away land in the Midwest and the West Coast to white families, to help get a more basically an economic stimulus package to get set up and start, whether they've been born here or immigrants, whatever, to get established and to move forward. Same time they were doing land grants, same time they were paying farmers not to farm. Well, this is for folks that don't know.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just agreeing with you. I'm just agreeing with you.
And so at that period of time, this is in 68.
Yeah.
And so
1968.
Not
1868.
Where he said, we're going to go to Washington, we're going to get our check. And this is what I said. People forget all that I have a dream stuff. This is why most people believe he took a bullet in the face. At that time, we had the Nation of Islam. We had the Black Christian Network. We had the Black Panther Party. We had a bunch of miscellaneous groups that had never gotten credit because they didn't reach a national platform, but were doing work in anywhere in America, and their community maybe on a smaller level, but all pulling at the same time to get the word out and to create a band and unity and boycotts and protests, all working at the same time.
Yeah.
You could say the most we've ever been together nationally as Africans. Now, we've been in pockets when we were much smaller numbers and more congregated in the South. But this is the most, that period of time, that civil rights era was the most that black people in America, covering the entire United States, were all polling at the same time. And we weren't moving right then. So if you take where we're at now, where, like I said, something as simple as, let's just have a conversation about trying to keep families together. Let's have a conversation about the importance of education, and not necessarily a degree to hang on the wall, but information that can be applied to better your household, to better your economics, to better your situation. You know, some character moves, some integrity to have, like some real basic points. We arguing over the most minuscule things over that type of message.
And killing over the most minuscule thing as well.
So now when we take something as major as this, what are we doing?
Well, first of all, I mean, everything that you said was right on. It was spot on. And I think that this quiet conversation, for those who are not fearful of what the drawback or the backlash, as I call it, would be from people who just looked at it like, well, we're living the American dream, or we've got our reparations through this process, or whatever the hell, affirmative action, however you want to kind of play it. A few more black millionaires. You got to remember, there's only 5 black billionaires, and Jay-Z's become one of them. Yeah. That's crazy, bro. 5 black billionaires, only 5, right? And we can even name how many Asian billionaires or white billionaires have been. The simple fact that we have such a problem to come together to say, whether you agree or not, that there should be some kind of financial stimulus package. And the financial doesn't necessarily need to be in monies, but in land or some kind of break, whether it's taxes, to help us navigate and get ahead of this curve as we are looking at the economic reparations. We have been steadily given a boot to our ass ever since they said we were emancipated and we were no longer slaves. We can go to the convict leasing. We can go from the redlining. We can go from the Jim Crow laws. We can go even to deeper in the earlier parts to mass incarceration. You know, the war on drugs, aka the war on black people. We can go on to the experiments of Tuskegee, and we can just keep on going with the genocide of black men and women by police brutality, aka police terror, from the slave catchers. How do we not sit there and have a deep conversation and be prepared to have a conversation to make us get something that has been pushed away from us because we've been bamboozled to believe that it's almost us doing ourselves in, and if we work a little bit harder, we'll get everything, when Jews have got money, Indians have got money, Asians have got money, and in these same things that we're saying, and this is just to name a few, America wasn't even on the hook for a majority of these different things.
We weren't on the hook for the Holocaust, but yeah, we cashed them out. Yeah.
So if we don't look at the cotton and tobacco industries, those things that helped raise up America, if we don't turn around and look at the real estate booms, those things that have raised up America, and those things that we have never been a part of, and the newer boom, the cannabis boom, all things that have been directly, when you look at tobacco, you look at the cotton, enslavement of black people created those $1 trillion industries.
Yeah.
Haynes ain't gave me or you, and I've said it before on our podcast, ever a check.
Yeah.
Marlboro, Newport has never ever sent you or I none of a check.
No.
Then when you look at the real estate, We are literally living in places to where they gentrify it, they buy us out, they raise up the rent, or to even go better, when we do start buying some of the property, they lowball us, right?
Higher interest rates.
Higher interest rates
for against our counterpart with the exact same financial situation.
Exact same, and we're left in this pigeonhole, right? Then turn around and you have all these other things that have constantly separated us from reaching that goal, where there will be a few of us that reach that Plymouth Rock,
yeah,
and then a majority of us scraping, fighting to get that. For anyone to sit there and say, when you look at the historical frame of America and what it's done to black people in general, I ain't talking about nobody else but black people. We have had, again, the foot in our ass ever since we got here. Ever since we were invaded, however you want to put it, got here when they invaded us, and they have not let go. Why? Because white folks have been petrified of the simple fact that the rising up of the ancestors of the enslaved would no longer be something where they can control, but they will no longer exist. And I feel that the reason why they keep running around in circles about not giving reparations, how reparations was going to be given, is because melanated people who are superior by being us, who we are, would separate in such a way that we now will create what we don't have, industries, right? And that's the thing that we lack. Could you imagine us having the counterpart to Nike? Can you imagine us having a counterpart to Dignity Health, Kaiser? Could you imagine us having the counterpart to the NBA, to Major League Baseball? Could you imagine us having a counterpart to their college institutions? All the things that we have bought into, that we've sold, that we have raised, that we created, we would no longer have use for it, because now if I'm giving my land, if I'm giving my check, if I'm giving my fair inheritance because of enslavement, I now am in the game to where I'm not begging, I'm not praying, I'm not borrowing. I have my own, and it's not my own because it was some kind of gift given to some white folks because they felt bad. It was because what they stole from us.
Yeah, and so I've said it all the time before. Like we get, with a butt of jokes of all these other cultures in America about how we behave or whatever. The day that we get all our stuff together is the day that everybody else goes broke. Like, we fund every other group, community, and culture in the United States of America. Them trillions of dollars that we trick off every year, we don't spend it with ourselves.
Not at all.
So we make the Latino immigrants, we make them money. The Asian immigrants, the Indian, East Indian, the Arab, the Caucasian, like, we're the ones that fund their lifestyle. We're the ones that pay for their kids to go to school. We're the ones that allow them to buy homes and then have their value go up and create equity so they can continue to prosper and to thrive and to build. The day that we become self-sufficient, they're all getting their water cut off. So in reality, it is not in their benefit for us to be better. Like, y'all about to trick off $1 trillion to us. You're not going to spend it amongst yourselves. So you won't give this to us and build all of us up. There was a comment, a quote by Dr. Boyce Watkins, who was addressing this today when it came to reparations. He said, the reparations debate is fruitless at this point because you're negotiating with direct descendants of those who brought their children to public lynchings like they were a family picnic.
Deep.
Like, you come in to have a discussion with some people who, their direct lineage are people who they used to have truly big family gathering, big family picnics where they used to have games. Now they do them in carnivals where they changed it up a little bit, where they have like the cutout where you stick your face in and you throw like a sandbag at them, or you throw a water balloon at them. Well, back then they used to have a little game called Hit the Nigger, where they would put children and have their faces sticking out those cutouts, and they used to throw rocks at them. They used to lynch black people in the trees and set them on fire and take pictures and make postcards out of them that the family went home with and put it in the scrapbook. Like, these are the people, he said, these are the direct descendants. And they're not talking about ancestry by like 200 years.
No.
You're talking about grandma.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking before, like my grandfather was born in 1933. My other grandfather passed away, was born in 23. And they remember all this stuff from their lifetime. And
on top of that, we're still feeling the effects of all
that. I mean, to the reverberation. I ain't talking about like where we get the effect. I'm talking about dudes, men and women who directly remember.
Yeah.
It's not like they had to feel the effects in the wake of.
Motherfuckers are still alive.
Physically remember. And when it comes to all the economic problems, the credit redlining, happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth to you.
The two
happy Juneteenth.
Two-part misconception. Number one, to Mitch McConnell's point, Harry said that they part of their reparations was making Obama a president. Barack Obama is not an African descendant of slavery. His father was Kenyan and his mother was white. So he does not come from a lineage that's the case. And the second part, when it comes
but hold on real quick, that's the stupidity and that's the ignorance and that's the privilege of white people that know they owe us. Because in any other kind of culture or any other persons that you got free labor from, and you're benefiting from that, you know you owe someone. Go ahead.
And when it comes to emancipation, when you're talking about the full totality of why this is important, Emancipation Proclamation did not free enslaved people.
Nah.
It more so transferred the title from private to state. Did it? Like, if you go through the paperwork, it didn't say that these people, you are all now free citizens to go amongst the world. It said that you are no longer captives in this particular system, that slavery is abolished with the exception of incarceration.
Yes, sir.
So as soon as you were no longer under John Smith, then they put in all those the black codes and the Jim Crow and all that stuff, where it literally was against the law to do anything black.
Yes.
They had laws to where
black codes.
Yeah.
Remember that, folks. Black codes. Look that up. Google that.
Where you had people in the South who decided that they wanted to get out of the South, so they used to hop on trains and try to ride the rails to the north or to the west or any way to get the hell out of Dodge. So it then became illegal to be black standing by railroad tracks. Because they knew if you were standing by railroad tracks, you're waiting for a train you was trying to run. So if you were found standing next to a railroad track while you were black, that was against the law. And then once you got incarcerated, you were given sentences from a year to 3 years to 10 years to 15 years. And as soon as you got back in the system, you went right back to work. But instead of working for John Smith, you worked for the state of Georgia.
And then when you think about redlining, right, you got to remember, you have uneducated slaves.
Yeah.
Who don't know how to read, write. They know labor, right? How do they really know how much property or what the land, the you know what I'm saying, the Semitics of the land? They don't know anything. They just are kind of like, okay, you know, well, Sir John said,
I've been as far as I've been.
This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that situation is, to me, by itself, is tragic. Why? Because you are basically saying that these free people who have now got this land are getting duped because they don't know. They can't read, they can't write, but they know they got some land.
Yeah.
And when you then go into outside of the 1800s, let's just go into now the 1940s.
Yeah.
Right? Where black people are establishing their own communities and building out for themselves. You got Black Wall Street. Let's go back again into the 1800s, I believe, or maybe even the early 1900s. It might have been for Rosewood.
Early
1900s. You have Rosewood. So you have these things that black people are now committed to say, all right, we're going to do for self. Because we know how, one, and we remember all of the horrific things that you've done, white man. We remember all of the times you stood by and watched us be desecrated, white woman. So I'm going to stay the hell away from you and do my own things.
Yeah.
The jealousy and the fact that white folks no longer had the crutch or the ability to have someone labor for whatever idea or thought they had, killed them. And to watch black people successfully become entrepreneurs and successfully with all of the stuff that had happened to them, these new generations of black young people rising up and creating their own, it killed white people. And they're looking at like, yo, we're going to get bought out. We're not going to have our establishments, being, what's that word I'm looking for? Our establishments being with a whole bunch of people and it, like, we're not gonna have black people participating in our shit, right? Because I have a drugstore, Johnny Bo has a drugstore, Johnny Bo's gonna probably have all his people there. We want everybody to go this drugstore. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna do anything we possibly can. And if you gotta understand your history, the first bombing on American soil happened with Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
So the idea,
crop dusters filled with fuel if they didn't burn the town down with it.
Right. The idea that we would think that reparations was not due because it's overdue. The idea that we don't believe that we deserve some kind of crutch, and some niggas' philosophies will probably be, I don't want to take no handout, or some niggas' philosophy like, well, if we get the check, we're gonna spend it anyway. I get it. But I'm not here to hear slave talk. I'm not here to talk ignorant. I'm not here to talk to Negroes about what we think we should have. I'm here to talk about what we should have. And because we all know that everything a black person has to do to become a current citizen in America, to come to some equality in America, is always led by some misguided misinterpretation, misinformation, and a struggle. I'm tired of the beg. I'm tired of the talking about the struggle. I'm tired of talking about the gentrification. I'm tired of talking about the police brutality. Let's talk about some real ways that they can line us up. I don't give a shit about how they have to figure it out, because they figured it out. And let us be able to start having a conversation about
everything else they want to do.
For sure.
For for people who are like, well, there's no way, and you can't do this, that. You could figure out a way to budget for everything else. This nation pisses away trillions of dollars every year in foreign issues and military stuff, and it's not going to education and the infrastructure of the country. So they figure out a way to do the books for however they need to every single year. There's ways that you can allocate this out. There's some numbers that you can crunch and that you can get this straight. Because
they just don't want to.
That's exactly it. And so I think that when you have,
they don't want to, and Negroes are in fear of it actually happening. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you're trying to have a real conversation, and reparations is not a handout, nor is it it's not a welfare or.
Say that again. Please be very clear and say that again.
Reparations is not a handout, nor is it welfare, nor is it public assistance.
Hallelujah.
No, it's not it's not a stimulus package.
Nah.
The fact is that it's owed money, and so
stop right there. It's owed money for free labor.
So take to this. So there's a website you can go to wherever you work. So anytime, if you've had a job before,
Jesus Christ,
most people have had a job that they usually left, and there was leftover money on their paycheck. Like say you worked for 9 days and you got your paycheck for 7. There's a website you can go to that'll show if you've overpaid on a bill, then you close the account. Like you actually have money sitting somewhere in these different places, and the state office has them. And they use the money that you have from your leftover check, and they collect interest on it. And they use that to do whatever they want with your money that's sitting there. So if you worked a job, you worked McDonald's back in 1992. All of a sudden, it's 2040. It's 2040. Your money has been sitting there this entire time. And they've used your money to do whatever it is that they wanted to do with it. You then going and filing the paperwork to run me my check is not a handout. If the money sat there and your daughter then comes to collect it, that's not a handout to her.
Talk to him.
If your daughter gets passed and she has a son and he comes and said, you've been holding my granddaddy's money since 1992.
It's not a handout.
It's not a handout. And the fact is that we'll sit there and say that we'll call it inheritance if it's done a specific way. If you do it this way, that's white people like to call stuff birthrights. That's one of their terms. This is my birthright. This is my grandfather built this. My great granddaddy fought for this. This is my birthright to have this. Reparations are the birthright of African descendants of slavery.
Yes.
That multiple centuries of labor, of abuse, of torture and torment went into the molding, shaping, and most importantly, funding of this nation. That you may be today saying, I'm struggling, how did I come up? But your daddy was okay. He just made poor choices. He benefited. He just squandered his. You know what I mean? There are institutions and infrastructures that have been put in place to help you. If you are a Caucasian in America, these systems are there. Imagine going to school and being told you have access to the study guide. You got the professor's phone number on speed dial. You got every tutor that you can possibly need. You've got the book on tape. You've got visual aids. You've got all that. Yeah. Now, if you ever take advantage of that, that's entirely up to you. But if you choose not to and you mess around and get a D, then you're sitting there saying, well, I have no privilege. I have no leg up. We're the same. I got a D in this class. How am I privileged? Yeah, but there was a whole infrastructure put in place to help you pass. Meanwhile, Johnny sitting next to you, he's got 3/4 of a book. Like it's got chapter 1, then it jumps to chapter 12. It's not highlighted. It's blacked out. Half the page is gone. There's no study guide. There's no syllabus.
Yes.
And he's got to figure out a way to get a passing grade. And because he finishes with a C and you got a D, you think that he's got a leg up over you.
Yep.
Like these are some of the mentalities that people have in this country. And when it comes to reparations, I think that we have to have a real conversation on this side of the table first.
We have to have a deeper conversation. Yeah. And I think that before we can really seriously have a conversation with them, we have to have a conversation with us. And we really have to sit there and come up with a dollar amount as well as line up a land amount, right? As well as a tax break. You know, let's really look into our education system. Why are black people even paying for any kind of education when it comes to college? Right? You have every single culture besides black people that just recently Newsom, the governor of California, apologized to the Native Americans about all of the genocide on the California side. Like, we barely can get that. I think that was it maybe 2009. They finally kind of like, we
effed up a little bit.
We probably,
we probably messed with you a little bit.
We probably
stunted your growth a little bit.
But the racism in America has been so much fueled on fear. And that's the fear of losing their position. That's the fear of allowing. Remember, we are the superior beings. We are the beginning and the end. That's why I created the Black Blueprints. It's like we are the black blueprints to civilization. The fear to no longer, it's almost kind of like Brett Favre could never retire because Brett Favre not only loved the game, he probably didn't know what to do after the game. Yeah. And he loved the fact that he was Brett Favre and he was considered the number one quarterback, right? Okay. To fall from grace and to finally have to sit there and like, what? It's over. To have that run, like, yo, I'm not the number one. Like, Aaron Rodgers time. It's like, whoa, it's shell shock. That's why it was like, yo, okay, you want the young bull? I'm going to go to Minnesota. Yeah. You can't let go of who you once were. And white America has to come to this reality. The most resilient people that you've tried to get rid of, they're still here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're still here. And now we finally got together to at least formally be serious about having this real conversation that the UN says we're old, that we know for the most of us are old. And what would be a total game changer if black people had the ability to get a tax break, if black people had the ability to have a break on college tuition, because other cultures have gotten those little breaks. Yeah, we're not talking about affirmative action.
Native Americans, if you can prove 1/8 blood to a particular tribe, you get a check off top. Regardless of what, if you're talking about, well, you're giving money to people who didn't, I wasn't around when we were, slaughtering Indians. Why do they get a check? There's not that argument when it comes to a Cherokee getting a check. Ain't nobody over here sitting there saying how come Navajo Jim is over here getting broke off?
Yeah, and then
no one's sitting there. But I'm saying like
nobody's arguing about that.
You're right. So if you can if you can sit there and say, okay, well, if you can prove, all you need is an eighth. If you can prove that you're an eighth of a particular tribe, you locked in on some money.
I don't want to hear. Go ahead, Rasanto.
If you can do the math on that.
Yeah.
Where you're tracking down lineage of it to an eighth of a bloodline.
I don't want to hear no bullshit about.
Yeah, don't tell me you can't figure out
what shit about us. It is a reality that because of all of the things that we've lined up and read down, for those who don't know, for those who do know, that has been happening since the time we've got here, or the time they've gotten here, that has been the deficit to our black plight, because every time we seem to move and navigate for better, we're in another crisis. If they don't believe this is all the effects of what was created to keep us in bondage, they've lost their goddamn mind. And for any black person that is not being serious about saying, this is what we need. And it's not even for us. It's for the next generation to it become a little bit. See, as long as white people are in power, it will never be an even playing field.
Yeah.
But as long as I feel we have a little bit more than what we have, we'll be able to play.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that by saying you don't have to be the athlete. You don't have to be the entertainer. Could be the normal Joe with your own talent, your own ability that doesn't resonate to make the white man profit margin that's ludicrous, because the white person is going to allow the 6'5" Negro to come every time. Like, yo, you welcome to the show.
Yeah.
But what about the 5'9" Negro that can't shoot ball, that can't play football, right? He's just an educated mind. We got to go through all the loops and all the turns of the world. Or what about your young brother in the hood? Why can't they have the opportunity? What this is about, evening up the access and the opportunity field, so it allows us to really embody some of the things that I think we have in our mind of what, as we would love to call it, Wakanda looks like. You know what I'm talking about? And I think that has to be something that white people have to start owning up. The white guilt and their idea that, well, it wasn't that bad, or their idea that, well, you guys are doing well. The simple fact that
we saved you.
The simple fact that you had what I want to say, I hope I'm not getting the number wrong, but $35 billion to the Europeans when slavery ended over there in Europe, right? Was it 35 billion?
Don't hold me to that number.
Okay. Well, I know they was given reparations to end slavery. And we have gotten absolutely nothing but, again, their foot in our asses. And we can go on with lists. We've brought enough. The argument doesn't even have to be sustained. It is just simply this. We don't have to go any further. Our ancestors labored for this country for free.
Yeah.
With genocide, with rape, with children trafficking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when we're talking about rape, the raping of the men and the women, and to be in these harsh conditions that you wouldn't ever let your worst of worst enemies be in. And then after all that, to continue to be brutalized to where we had a civil war, and now we're going and dealing with a civil rights. And then even after the civil rights, we're still fighting?
Okay, Come on, dog. White people in America would ask for the death penalty if what was done to black people were done to dogs.
Jesus Christ, bro.
If white people saw what happened to black people happen to dogs, Cocker Spaniels, little Springer Terrier, if they saw dogs being brutally abused, being starved out, being beat, being worked till their paws were bleeding, starved till their rib cage was showing, burned and abused just because it was Tuesday, they would want the death penalty for everybody who was involved. But the sheer fact that it happened to black people,
they don't care.
At the hands of their relatives.
Man.
It is why this is going to be an uphill battle from now on.
Real quick, show me how the enslavement of the enslavement of black people and the free labor that our ancestors gave has not benefited white people.
You can't, because not only did it make this country rich, it's what brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. We financed countries on 2 continents.
Stop it.
To start with, at least 2 continents off of that.
Don't go there.
Spain, Britain, France, all of them came up. Italy, Portugal, all of them came up.
Don't go there.
Under the labor of African enslaved individuals.
No, don't go there.
So even if you're like, man, my family didn't even come here until this year. Yeah, they was getting paid off us where they came from. But all of these things are conversations that we need to really get into. And as much as we like to put the heat on the other side of the table for what we need to hold people accountable for and the restitutions and the justice that needs to be served, we also have to be clear that we have a clear understanding and a focus of what it is that we want, and be steadfast in the things that we need and not get so hung up on the little details that we can't make the major moves. And these things all start off with a conversation which lead to an action. So as we get ready to make the moves, we have to start off by making sure that we say something.
And I think that we need to make sure as we say something that's relevant. We start really designing and coming up with an idea of what it looks like, because I feel every black person has an idea of what it looks like. Not one black person is going to have that ultimate plan that says this is for all of us. Let us not backbite. Let us not backstab. Let us be able to come to the table in a collective with a united front to understand that this is a game changer. And in order for us to change the game, we must be as cunning, we must be as direct, and we must be as unified. And that means, Negro, I don't want to hear a sellout, a coon, a silly ass Negro talk about we don't deserve it, we don't need it, and here's why. That's crazy. Because everything that has affected our black plight has been because of the enslavement of black people, and everything that has become the rich land of America is because of free labor. All of that free labor for over 400 plus years has created empires upon empires upon empires. All the times where black people could not patent ideas, inventions that white people were easily able to steal and take, has created some of the greatest corporations to this day. And now folks will say things have kind of changed. In my eye, not really. Progress has been made. In my eye, not enough. So we need to progressively charge this idea and make this our reality, and not allow ourselves to go back and say, okay, we're all right, let's move forward. Let's move forward on this reparation. Let's get serious about this shit.
All right, where can folks find you online for more conversations like this?
Barry Accius at Twitter, Barry Accius on Facebook, Barry Accius on IG, and blackblueprintswithaz.com. Y'all, we got some new shirts. Come on website, come holla.
Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Every other social media platform is at J Morris CEO. It's been Say Something Podcast.
Holla.
And until next show, we will holla at you later.
Indeed.